welcome to another session for event-driven programming. So for today's video lecture, we will be talking about JPanel. So to start with, I have already created the frame that we will be using to create the panels that we will be using along the way. Okay, so let's start first with the definition on what's the purpose of JPanel. So the purpose of JPanel is actually to provide users or developers with containers that will be used, diba? So they will serve as containers which will be utilized for the creation of different components, okay, of for your program. So let me try to differentiate what a JPanel and a JFrame is. So si JFrame, it's like the general canvas that we will be using. Si JPanel naman is the sub canvas or yung portion of the canvas that you will be utilizing for a specific component. So for example, if you're just using a particular portion of the frame for the buttons, so you don't need to utilize all of the frame, but rather what you will do is that you manipulate the panel only. So yan yung purpose ni JPanel. It will provide developers for a specific area kung saan lang nila gusto malagay yung components. Okay? So to start with the usage of JPanel, what we need to do is that, of course, we need to import the library. But as what we all know, Java Eclipse will take over once we start doing the JPanel coding na dayon. So let's start creating our first panel, okay? So to do that one, we just need to type JPanel. Please be mindful with the uppercase and then lowercase because napaka-case sensitive po ni Java Eclipse, okay? So what we are doing right now is that we are creating an instance of a new panel, okay? So our first panel will be called the red panel. Ayan. JPanel, okay? Pagpasensyahan nyo po yung mga medyo marong spelling tayo dito. Okay, so if you notice, Java Eclipse will then provide us with the library na, hey, you import this one so that you can run this panel, okay? So actually creating the panel is like creating also labels, diba? On our previous activities, we have created labels, so ganun lang din yung gagawin natin. So for this, for JPanel, we'll create first the object, and then the second thing that we need to do for us to identify na that is the correct panel is to create a background or to change the background color of the panel. So to do that one, just call the created panel, so that is red panel, and then dot background. Ayan. You'll be provided with a syntax, and then you need to use color, and then you indicate the color that you would want. So for this panel, we have mentioned already that this one will be the red panel. Okay, so let's have red. So if you notice then also, since we are using color, we need a library for color. So I think Java Eclipse will recommend. Okay, ayan. Diba? Then after that, you can also, what do you call this one? You can also position your panel to whichever position you desire or you would want. So for example, we'll have our JPanel position on the upper left corner of our frame. So that would be customizing the bounds or the boundary. So ayan. So let's have the second one. Ito. So again, I think this one is already familiar. The first two digits is for the x and y coordinates, and then the third and then the fourth is for the width and the height of the panel. So for example, we'll have it on the uppermost left corner of the panel. So it means the 0 and 0 will remain, and then let's have a 250 by 250 pixel panel, okay? So just like labels, this panel will not be visible, not unless you add this one to your frame. So if you notice, sorry, parang may mali. let's try to see kung ano yung mali dito. Okay, I don't know what happened, pero I think I typed it correctly. So, that happens. So, if you notice, if I run this one, ayan, the red panel will not be visible. So, to do that one, you go to your frame area, and then you add the panel. So, to do that one, just type frame dot add, and then we will add the panel that is the red panel. Okay, and then, if we will run this one, ayan, automatically, you will be provided with a panel wherein you can do some customizations. Either on this particular area, you just put the picture, the icons, the buttons. So, pwedeng ganyan yung gagawin natin. Okay? Now, let's try to add another panel so that we can practice. So, you can just actually copy and paste. Okay? So, copy and paste it, and then you can change the name of the object. So for example, let's have the blue panel. Make sure to change also the others so that it will not have a conflict. Okay, be careful with the way you spell it. It should be consistent para hindi magaya kanina. Okay, then you also have blue panel. Okay, panel. Okay, sorry. So for this one, gusto natin na si red panel and then blue panel ay kung si red panel ay nandoon sa upper left corner ng frame natin, let's have the blue panel on maybe medyo malayo sa sa top left. Okay, so to do that one, we will change the coordinate into 250, and then let's have like its y position still 0, and then let's have the same size. Okay, so every time that you add a new panel, don't forget to add also it to our frame. So to do that one, you have frame, add, and then you have blue panel. Just, I think you can just click on the blue panel. But with this one, ayan, type ko na lang para okay, ayan. So if you will run this one, I hope it works. Wait, it will still be red because I did not change it. So make sure to change also the color. Okay, so ayan, if you notice, diba, we have a red panel and then the blue panel. So the purpose of this one is that, for example, you would want your components to be just in the red panel and then it will not overlap to the blue panel. So you can do this kind of method para alam niyo kung ano lang yung pwedeng igalaw on this particular components at ano lang yung pwede nating i-move around. Okay? So let's try to add another green panel which is quite bigger compared to the two. Okay? So paano natin gawin yan? Change again the name of the panel. You can have green panel. Okay? And then the other one, change din natin. Yan. And then change the color also. And of course, the third one, change natin yung position. Lagay natin siya sa ibaba. Okay, let's have green panel. Let's put this one beneath the two panels. So, it means now we'll have it like 0. Let's have this one interchange. So, ito, gawin natin 0, tapos ipapababa natin siya. Okay? And then we can have it like more bigger. Like the width of it, more bigger. Like let's have it like the twice. Okay, so we've created a green panel. What we need to do is to add it to our frame. Okay, add lang natin. Yan. Don't forget to end it with a semicolon. So if you will try to run this one, yan, ganyan yung mangyayari, di ba? So if you notice, yung frame natin is already compromised with 3 panels. Ibig sabihin, you can make divisions, you can make some separations between and among components. So for example, you'll have this area for the buttons. So automatically, if you will try to manipulate this area for customization or design, what you will do is that you look for the green panel. Okay? Same goes with this one. Like for example, on the red panel, you'll have the label for your text box. And then the text box is on the blue panel. So anything that deals with labels, you go or you do your customizations on this first panel. And then if there will be customizations with regards or with respect to your text boxes, then you go to the other panel, diba? So in event-driven programming, it would be better if you make it very specific para pagdating ng changes or if there will be modifications, it will not be as hard as possible or difficult as possible. Okay? Now, let's try to add some components. So, just like what I mentioned a while ago, si JPanel, pwede mong lagyan ng components. For example, yung na-discuss natin na label. Okay? So, you have JLabel. Okay? Java labels. Create mo tayo ng bagong instance or object. Okay? And then, new label. New JLabel. Most of the errors na natin is pag kulang yung library, pag hindi tama yung pagkakaspell ng word, yan, be careful on that one. So set natin si label with the text na like for example, this belongs to, ayan, this component, para madali, this belongs to, ganyan na lang. Okay. And then, let's try to add it. Then, add natin. So, for example, this is a label, di ba? If you notice, hindi natin in-specify kung saan siya malalagay na panel. So, basically, if I will run this one, the position of this one will not be visible because it was, obviously, it will be, it's not added in the frame, and at the same time, if you will try to add this one in the frame, automatically, yung kalalagyan niya is yung upper corner ata ng frame natin, which is not the correct one, di ba? So, let's try to make it very specific na this one or this label should be placed under or inside the red panel. So, to do that one, what you need to do is not to call the frame, but to call the panel. So, red panel dot add and then yung label. Okay? Let's try to see if it works. So, dapat ito yung lalabas. This belongs to. Okay? Hope it works. Ayan. Hindi siya lumalabas. Bakit? Okay? Bakit siya hindi lumalabas? Let's try to maximize it. Ayan. Ito yung usual na common sa Mac. Okay? But in Windows, hindi siya nagiging ganito. So, ayan. For example, I've run this one and then obviously, what I have configured is that this particular label should be in the red panel. So, what I did was that I called the red panel and then I added some components. So yung components na tinawag ko is si label. So, obviously, si label is equivalent to this text. Okay? Actually, you can also change the, like where you would want to put it. Like, for example, you would want to have this text placed in this area. So what you will do is that just change this configuration here into blue. Okay? So obviously, if it says blue, ibig sabihin, si label will be under or will be placed inside the container na blue panel. Okay? Check natin. So again, sa Mac, yung gumagamit ng mga Mac, you need to extend it para ayan. Okay, you have it here. This belongs to. Okay? So, that's the purpose of JLabels. So, again, if you will try to compare it with frame, si frame is yung general or itong puti, diba? And obviously, hindi naman, like for example, you'll only have 3 components. I think it would be hard for you na from time to time, you will do customizations inside the frame. So, to avoid that confusion, you need to use panels. Okay? So that's it for today's video lecture. If you have questions, you can comment it down below or you can send me a message. Thank you for joining me today.